In the 11th episode of the A.S.A.P Tech News, we talk about Sapphire's passively cooled RX 5700 XT graphics card, Intel unlocking the memory overclocking feature on the H570 and B560 chipsets, the NVIDIA RTX 3080 Ti and Super variants being postponed indefinitely, and finally Intel discontinuing all consumer-grade Optane-Only products. We start with Sapphire and what could be the first ever RX 5700 XT graphics card which is passively cooled. This thing does not have a model or a product name just yet, but it does have a massive triple slot heatsink that will apparently be able to cool the graphics core and the VRM components passively. However, before you plan ahead and start asking about when this will hit the stores, well, it's not that easy. This is a graphics card, but it is for server usage, and this is why it can get away with not using any fans, as the graphics cards used in server racks are often passively cooled to save space, and also because the airflow is generated by external placed high-speed fans. This graphics card is said to run at the standard speeds and offers a single HDMI port and 3 display ports. There are no words about the pricing or the availability of this particular model, but it would be interesting to see if such a large heatsink would do any good inside the regular gaming system and not a high-speed server rack. But we shall see if this graphics card will be available for the consumers. We continue with Intel, which finally decided after 300 years to allow memory overclocking for the H570 and B560 chipsets. This is obviously going to be a thing starting with the Rocket Lake S CPU lineup from Intel, and I highly doubt that older chipsets or CPU series will get the same features, if anything at all. Basically, before this, if you did not have a motherboard with a Z chipset, then you were limited to basically the factory XMP profile of the RAM kit, or worse, the maximum available speed offered by the chipset, which means that some people, many people in fact, would buy a 4000 MHz RAM kit and use it on a B series motherboard which has a maximum memory frequency of 2666 MHz, and that 4000 MHz RAM kit would run essentially at, you guessed it, the maximum of 2666 MHz. It is not yet known exactly what CPU series will actually support this new and unlocked RAM memory overclocking, as there are many possibilities of having memory overclocking enabled on only i5 and up CPU series, but we shall see when those hit the market. And now we have some news about NVIDIA and the potential release of the super variants of the RTX 3080 graphics cards, which has been apparently postponed indefinitely. According to GamersNexus, the NVIDIA partners are talking about an indefinite postponement of the RTX 3080 Ti and the possible unexpected super variants of this graphics card. This decision is based most likely on the low availability of chips for the graphics card manufacturing, and in this case NVIDIA decided to ensure a good supply of current gen graphics cards instead of trying to introduce even more into the market. Even though the Ti and Super variants are usually better and more expensive on the MSRP. However, in addition to the GamersNexus coverage of this news piece, TechPowerUp has also confirmed this information with several NVIDIA partners. And finally, Intel has decided to discontinue all customer Optane-based SSD products. This decision basically means that the Intel Optane memory M10, 800MP, 900MP and the 905P series of SSDs has been completely discontinued. To be clear, this means that all of the above mentioned products are marked as EOL or end of life, and thus once the stocks run out, there will be no new products coming. Intel also mentioned their Optane memory H2O SSD series as a suitable replacement for these EOL products. This, however, leaves a gap into the market for Optane-based products, but only on the consumer side, as the server-grade products appear to be still in production, at least for now. While the Optane SSDs were not exactly cheap and easy to use or worthwhile the investment, these products being tied into the Intel Z platform, it did offer an alternative to the current generation SSDs, and alternatives are how the technology progresses, which is unfortunate in this case. And this is the end of the 11th episode of the A.S.A.P Tech News, one of the few tech news sources which aims to deliver you the news as fast as possible for your convenience.